Hello everyone, welcome to Canada's Smartest Kitchen. We are here in Prince Edward Island, Canada's Food Island, and I'm so excited about our Facebook Live today. We are so lucky. We're joined with Chef Brittany Boothroyd, and she is the owner and the founder of wildkitchen.ca, so check it out online. Now, Brittany has quite a robust global history. She actually took her chef schooling right here at the Culinary Institute of Canada in Charlottetown. Amazing. She's been globetrotting, traveling, working for restaurants here, working at Fairmont, has been to Cambodia, Vietnam, Australia, lots of places, and she's bringing all of that flavor and awesomeness combined with our local PEI ingredients today. So are you ready? Give me a thumbs up, all likes, or a comment below. Let's go, everyone. We are making nothing other than a potato-style salad power bowl. We are so excited, and we're using, of course, our PEI potatoes because at Canada's Food Island, we've been growing them for 200 years, and we know that our iron-rich soil makes them taste better than you've ever had. So, Brittany, that's enough about that. Let's get into this power bowl. So, how are we getting started?
Amazing. So, what we're making today is basically a power bowl that's full of protein and sustenance and a potato salad put together. So it's going to be full of protein, full of flavor, full of lots of different vegetables, and of course, PEI potatoes. Okay, so we're going to start off with this little guy. This is called tempeh.
Okay, what is that? Tell us more.
So tempeh is an alternative to meat, and it's high in protein. It's made from soy, similar to tofu, but I like to call it tofu's cooler cousin because it's fermented instead of curdled. So it's full of probiotics, and it's just really, really good for you. It has full of iron, protein, potassium, probiotics, and it's actually, because it's fermented, your body breaks it down more easily, and it just has a really great meaty texture and flavor. So
okay, I love it. Now, for all of you out there being like, tempeh, what? Could we use anything else besides tempeh in this recipe?
Yes,
if you want to. We think you should try it, but if not, use chicken, beef, lobster, mussels maybe?
This whole bowl is a choose your own adventure, so if there's anything that you don't like or you like a lot, you can take it out, you can add more, you can choose your own adventure and customize it to your own preference.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay, so what are we doing with the tempeh?
Okay, so I made this little marinade here, and this is literally just stone ground Dijon mustard with a little bit of pickle juice added to it to make it a little bit thinner, so it's a little bit more runny consistency so that we can coat the tempeh. So all we're going to do with this is we're going to slice it thin. So it's kind of like a thin little slice of meat almost.
Oh, it has such a good texture to it.
Yeah, it's pretty firm. It doesn't fall apart very easily. So you're just going to slice it thin, and you're going to pop it in this marinade of mustard and pickle juice.
Yum.
This is the marinade we're using because of the potato salad style. But if you wanted to, for like a stir fry or something, you can marinate it in sesame oil or soy sauce or black bean sauce or anything kind of like savory. Choose your own adventure as always.
And if I was going to buy tempeh at the grocery store, where would I get that?
So in Superstore, it is in the tofu section.
Okay.
At Sobeys, it is frozen in the natural food section.
Okay.
But the pharmacy and fermentery downtown also makes their own.
Nice.
So they usually have it for sale there.
Excellent. So lots of options to check that out. And if not, no worries. You can use chicken or maybe the whole kit on board with even black beans. Okay.
Yeah.
So now that's marinated.
Yeah. So it's all just coated in the marinade. We're just going to set this aside and let it do its thing for a few minutes.
Perfect. Awesome.
All right. And now we're going to roast our veggies.
Yes.
So as you said, we have our PEI potatoes.
Love it.
And we're going to roast these. So we want to roast them so that they're pretty crispy and get a nice like brown caramelization on them. Okay. So what I like to do is I cut them in half first. And then I'm going to slice them so that they're pretty thin. That way when you roast them, that they actually will cook through and get pretty crispy. If you cut them thicker, they'll just take a little bit longer.
Right. Awesome. That's such a great tip.
Yeah, so we're kind of going for about this size.
And I love that you're leaving the skins on because as I'm a really big fiber advocate, we don't get enough in our diet, so I love that you're leaving those skins on because you're throwing away nutrition and fiber.
I gave them a good scrub.
Perfect.
And they're ready to go.
Great. So while you're chopping that, if you are not a big fan of the skins having it on here, another great option is when you get your little skin peels. So maybe you have your little skin peels that are left over, you can actually toss these with a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of sea salt sprinkled on them, put them on a baking sheet at 400 degrees Fahrenheit, cook them about 15 minutes, and they make a really delicious crispy topping that you can use to top this bowl, top salads, do anything like that at all, which is so great because we don't want to waste. In Canada, about 2.3 million tons of food. That is costing Canadians about $20 billion is going to food waste. So we want to prevent it. So this is also a great way to use up any veggies that are in your kitchen.
Absolutely.
Right?
You can pretty much just open your, your crisper and grab anything that you need. And if it's dense, you want to roast it. And if it's like a cucumber or broccoli, you can put it on raw. You can steam it. You can give it a quick boil. As long as you kind of know what you're working with, so that you don't put some raw potato on your power bowl.
I mean, you can't. I've eaten them. They're still good too. Yeah.
So for the carrot, I'm just going to do a bit of a strange cut. So I like to cut it in half lengthwise, and then cut them on a diagonal. This way, the size of the carrot, the width, and the skinniness at the end doesn't affect how thick the cut is. It means that each cut is uniform, and that way they will cook more evenly. And it also makes them look kind of fancy.
Oh my gosh, that's a chef pro tip right there. I mean, your veggie platters will never look the same again. I love it. Love it. Perfect. So great. Gosh, I just love carrots. And we're thinking about it, when you're buying a bag of potatoes, love them here on PEI, we all do. A couple of tips is storing your potatoes in a cool, dry, dark place. This will help your potatoes stay nice and fresh every time you use them. And another little tip is to actually put an apple in your potato bag.
Yeah.
The ethylene oxide that comes off the apple will actually prevent your potatoes from sprouting. So another little hot tip of how to prevent food waste with our potatoes.
See, we're both learning today.
I know,
love it.
so great.
Here I'm going to add our chickpeas. We get some nice crunchy roasted chickpeas at the end. So these have already been drained and rinsed to get all that extra starch off there. And we're just going to dump that right in.
Perfect.
So in here we have our potatoes, our carrots, and our chickpeas. And all we're going to do, we have a little bit of extra virgin olive oil here. We're just going to give it a nice healthy drizzle. A little shake of garlic powder.
Oh, you can really smell that. So
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I love it.
And then just a hit of kosher salt.
Always makes it look so fancy, doesn't it? I love it. I know.
And then we have some fresh dill chopped already. I love roasting vegetables with fresh dill. Some herbs will burn in the oven, but I find that dill doesn't. It just kind of breaks down and makes everything so flavorful. Perfect. So I'm just giving this nice coating, make sure everything's coated. You can get in here with your hands if you want to.
Right out the trick as well, right?
Yes.
Get them in there, get them learning about cooking.
Exactly. All right, so we're gonna, this is a cool thing that I found just at Sobeys. This is a reusable parchment paper, so you don't have to waste parchment paper. So I'm just gonna pop this on your sheet pan.
And what's our oven set at for those at home?
Oven is at 400.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
It'll get nice and crispy and
Yeah.
oh my gosh, it just smells so good. Fresh dill makes such a difference.
Yes,
Now,
it does.
what if you didn't have fresh dill and you had to use dry? What would you do?
You could use dry. You would want to use less because it is stronger.
Right.
And then we're also going to be putting fresh dill on the end, but you wouldn't want to use dry dill as a good fresh garnish. You want to make sure it gets cooked.
Perfect. Love it. Wow, that just looks so good. I love all the colors in there. So nice. Look at that.
So we're going to pop this in the oven for about 20 to 25 minutes. You can leave them in longer if you want to, if you like your veggies a little bit more cooked. And then we're going to roast our onion, but we're going to add that in later because it doesn't take quite as long to cook.
Oh, what a great tip. Now, we're talking about food waste while she's popping that in the oven. Other things you can do as well is if you wash your romaine or lettuce or greens that you have, you can also buy storage containers, which will help reduce food waste.
Yes.
And this can actually last up to 1 to 2 weeks in your fridge. Or you can also put it with a damp paper towel, put it into a plastic bag. But we know we want to prevent waste going into landfill, so these are a great option as well to help keep your veggies nice and fresh.
Yeah.
All right, so broccoli time.
Broccoli time.
Okay.
So whenever I get broccoli, this was just a crown, so I bought it like this, but I did chop off a little bit of the end and I put it in this little bowl of cold water, and that's just going to help your broccoli last an extra 3 to 4 days.
Ooh, I love that tip.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
If you do get it with the stem, you can also cut or peel that woodiness of the outside of the stem off, and you can eat that in the interior of that stem. And it's just like, it's like an extra vegetable. It's like crunchy broccoli. It's a delicious snack.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So we're gonna blanch this broccoli. So all that means is we're boiling it for about 30 seconds to a minute until that green color really pops. And that's gonna kind of break it down just enough so that your body can get all those nutrients out of it, but we're not boiling it too long so that it loses all those nutrients.
I know, I just love broccoli.
It's one of my favorite
Oh my gosh,
vegetables.
it's so great. And I'm sure the blanching too makes a big difference. It'd be great for
Yeah.
kids doing
It's
that.
still pretty crunchy, it's not
Yeah.
mushy.
But I love how vibrant and green it gets.
Yes.
Just give it a quick little blanch.
So I'm just cutting these. You can kind of do them to your own preference of how you like to eat your broccoli on your fork. But I like to do them fairly decently sized.
So great. Now, would you blanch cauliflower too if you were doing cauliflower?
If I was doing cauliflower in this, I would actually be roasting it right now with everything
Okay.
else. Yeah.
Great tip.
You might need a second baking sheet to make some room, but I make Buddha bowls or power bowls at home multiple times a week, and we always use cauliflower if we have it at home.
Yeah. Nice.
Usually if it's on sale.
Right.
So I have a pot of boiling water over here, and we're gonna add about a teaspoon to 2 teaspoons of kosher salt to the water, because the broccoli is only gonna be in there for about 30 seconds to a minute. So the shorter amount of time that the vegetable is in the water, the more salt you wanna add. So it's a nice rolling boil here. We're just gonna pop our broccoli in.
Nice.
Use some tongs or a spoon to make sure that it's all into the water.
Just like a little broccoli hot tub right there.
Yeah.
Broccoli's at learn a day at the spa.
Here we go.
There we go.
Not too long.
No.
Quick day at the spa.
Quick day at the spa.
Spa teaser.
Now with power bowls, they're very popular. So if I was going to do power bowls and maybe make them for my lunches, would you recommend that maybe I store the salad dressings separately so I could keep them for like 3 days? in my
Yeah,
fridge?
they're a great thing to prep ahead of time, but keeping the dressing separate and keeping the greens separate with some wet paper towel on top is going to make everything last a little bit longer.
So great. Amazing. Oh, look at that broccoli in there.
It's already bright
turning.
green,
Already
yeah.
getting a little bit more brighter. Look at that.
Beautiful.
Brighter days. Brighter broccoli.
Yes, the sun's coming out. That's a big thing too, is that when island corn comes into season, PEI corn in this recipe is amazing.
That would be. Now, what would you do with that? Boil it, or would you roast it?
I would boil
barbecue
it. I would
Okay.
boil it just so that it's cooked, and then I would
Yep.
just shave it off with a sharp knife
Nice.
and just toss it in at the end.
Oh, it'd be so nice.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna take this off, and I'm gonna go right over to the sink, and I'm gonna shock it with cold water, and that's gonna stop the cooking process so that it doesn't get overcooked.
And how long would you run it under cold water for those viewing?
Just until there's no heat left. So I'm gonna kind of check it with my hand and make sure that there's no heat hiding in the bottom.
Right. So let's see all of these people tuning in today. Is anybody blanch their vegetables? Maybe comment below. If you don't, maybe give us a thumbs up if you're going to start blanching your vegetables to take your power bowls to the next level. So much nutrition can go into these power bowls. It's so awesome and exciting, which is great. And a couple fun potato tips since we have a little bit of time while we're just shocking that broccoli, like shocking it a little bit. With PEI potatoes, Prince Edward Island actually supplies Canada with about 25% of the potatoes, which is absolutely amazing. And we love that PEI, if you love PEI potatoes, you can get them all across the country this month. So check out your local grocery store, ask for PEI potatoes, because we want to share that PEI potato love, and there's no better time than now to get them.
Absolutely.
Okay, so wow, look at that. Look how vibrant
Yes.
and amazing that is. Just take a look at that. Wow, that looks fantastic.
Yeah, but then if you try peas,
Oh my gosh, I will. Why wouldn't you?
it's not mushy. It still has a little bit of texture in there. And again, you can choose. You can keep it in for less time if you want it extra crunchy. You can cook it for longer if you like your. Some people don't like a crunchy vegetable, so
I love it.
you can absolutely choose. So I'm just gonna hit this with a little bit of lemon juice, just to add a little bit more flavor in there, freshen it up a little bit. Give that a little toss, and we'll set that aside. That's all done.
All right, what's next, Chef?
Next is our sauce.
Okay, great.
So this sauce is derived from one of my most popular recipes is my potato salad. If you know me, you've probably eaten it before. And it's literally just a little bit of vegan mayo, apple cider vinegar, some stone ground or grainy Dijon mustard, garlic, and fresh dill.
Oh, I love it. Actually, our friends at Atlantic Mustard would be doing lots of good mustards in here as well.
All their mustards are amazing.
So good.
So we have a little bit of mustard. The recipe calls for about a third of a cup, but that's enough for about 4 to 5 people. So we're
Okay.
just going to make a little batch today just to get a smaller portion.
Thanks. Well, I just love how simple this is. A lot of pantry staples that you just have in your pantry.
Yeah, and it's not a lot of anything either.
Mhm.
I'm just going to mix that together, toss in our fresh dill here.
Oh yeah, you can't have potato salad without fresh dill.
Nope. And some fresh garlic that we just minced there as well. And we're just going to mix that together until it's emulsified and it's one kind of even consistency and it's not all gloopy, because at first it will be. That's okay.
Now, if I made this up ahead of time, because maybe I wanted to make a potato salad as well.
Yeah.
How long would that last in my fridge?
This would last for quite a while, because
Okay.
between the mayonnaise and the vinegar, it would have a pretty solid pH that would keep it from going bad.
Like a week?
I would say at least a week.
Okay.
Maybe just give it a check. Yeah, I don't think it would go bad very quickly.
Oh, I just love it. Now you're making me crave potato salad. As well. Oh yeah,
Nice,
I
smell it.
Oh my gosh, that smells so good! So good, I can't wait to try this.
So you can always add more dill if you want to. You can take it out. You can. I mean, if you wanted to switch this up, you could totally change the flavor profile to using like thyme and rosemary. And it would be a little bit more like homey, wintry, comforting kind of style.
Awesome. And I heard you say vegan mayo, but you could use regular mayo.
Yeah, you can use regular mayo. Yep. Right, and that is our sauce, ready to go.
So simple, so easy, and wow, it looks delicious.
Right. So I'm just going to turn my pan on here to fry our tempeh, but it's going to be a few minutes on that. Alright, we're going to just chop our cucumber. So we have some dill pickles, these are going to go on top, and we're going to do those with some cucumber so that it's not really intense salt. We have a little bit of freshness to balance that out.
Oh, I just love it, that's great.
So I just kind of slice it one way, and then we're going to mince it into a similar shape as this dill pickle. So we have our little chopped pieces.
I love that you're so passionate about just making things easy and delicious, but also really great for the eyes as well, right? This bowl is going to be so visually appealing
Yes.
and uniform shape. That's so great.
It's really, like, once you get a hang of it, it's not difficult to make your food look really beautiful, and it kind of adds to the excitement of making your own food at home, because you can play with it and then you get to plate it at the end and you're like, wow, that actually looks really good and it wasn't that hard.
Awesome.
So I'm just going to chop this into our tiny little pieces here.
Now, do you have any tips for storing cucumbers?
Storing cucumbers, I do leave the wrapper on if they come in plastic, but a good one if it's already opened is I will, if I'm like, okay, this is starting to go, it's not rotten yet, but I don't think I'm going to use it on time, is I'll actually slice it into rounds, like thin rounds, and I will add it to my dill pickle jar.
Oh my gosh, what a great tip. That's great.
And then you have kind of like a raw quick pickle that you can add to salads or sandwiches or anything. It's not as strong as a regular dill pickle, but it will kind of preserve your cucumber a little bit longer and infuse a little bit of that flavor.
Well, that's great. So nobody on this call today should be throwing out their cucumbers.
No.
They're looking a little loosey or little sad.
You want to go buy some pickles if you don't have any pickles already? And
Well, they'll be buying it to make this potato bowl, right? So that's great. Yeah, I mean, really with any ingredients that you have, I know sometimes it's looking like spinach or kale or it's looking a little wilty. I always recommend that people throw it into your food processor, a little bit of water, and then you can actually freeze it into ice cube trays, and then you can pop it into smoothies in the morning, just so that you're not throwing it out, right? Because a lot of people will throw it out, or if people are buying those salad containers that come in that little plastic trays, just take a wet paper towel and put that in. It will actually extend the life of it a little bit longer.
I've heard that ice cube tray trick with herbs as well.
Yes, you can
use some
absolutely.
herbs that are
Especially if you're
wilted.
buying so much dill, that would be really good. And add a little bit of butter or oil, and then be able to
a little bit of olive oil in the ice cream tray, and then you can pop it into your pan while you're cooking your potatoes or anything like that. Yeah. The bunches come really big, and it's really hard to use them as you need them. So I'm just chopping up our onion now that we're going to add to the roasting pan that's in the oven. I like to do a whole onion because I really like roasted onion. It's a lot, it's just more neutral, a bit more gentle than raw onion, and it really complements the flavors that we're working with today. Yeah. But if you want to leave it out, you can. If you want to add, just half the onion, it's totally whatever you choose.
Now, what is your best chef tip for not frying?
When you're cutting all those onions, come on, we want to hear from you.
Laughing through the pain is my only tip.
I know you hear light a candle, wear ski goggles, hold your breath.
I've been asked this question a lot, and I have not ever found anything that works. I had someone ask me the other day if holding milk in your mouth works, and I was just like, I don't know, I haven't tried it.
Wow.
But you never know.
You never know. So if you have tips and you're tuning in and you have tips of how not to fry chopping onions, please share with us all below. We would love to know.
We would love to know because I haven't found anything that works yet. Can you pass me the oil, please?
Yes, I sure can.
So we're just gonna do the same kind of seasonings on this onion that we did with the other roasted vegetables. We have our oil, dill. We'll add a little bit of garlic now because it's not being roasted as long as the other vegetables.
Nice.
A little bit of salt, and then just that garlic powder again.
Just make it look so good, just so easy.
Yeah,
So much
the
flavor.
dill is also just really beautiful.
Yeah.
Adds some green, adds a lot of flavor, a lot of smell.
And I find when you are buying dill in these kind of large bunches, which is amazing, but just storing it even in a mason jar like you have on your counter can help extend the life a little bit.
Big time.
I often do that with cilantro or even green onions at home. This is how I tend to store it. Maybe not in a wine glass, or maybe it is. Who knows? We might have to find out.
So I'm literally just going to take this pan out of the oven and add these onions to it and let it keep going.
Perfect.
So I usually, if I have the timer on, I'll wait till the timer says about 15 minutes remaining, and then I'll add the onion.
Awesome. And if anybody has air fryers out there, you can also give tips below. How would you roast this in an air fryer versus a baking sheet? We had that question earlier today.
I'm new to the air fryer
I
world.
know. I'm like,
No,
no,
it's
the
a
air
word.
fryer. I'm with you. I love the air fryers. Put that on 400 degrees and leave it for about 10 minutes and then see if it works.
I love it. All right.
So tempeh time?
Tempeh time.
All right.
So this is something that if you want to, you can marinate your tempeh overnight. You can marinate it for a few hours, but because it's only so porous, it doesn't absorb a ton of it. Like if it was liquidier, it would soak up a lot of it, but then it'd be a little bit harder to fry.
Right.
So I like to just get a little bit of coating on there, let it soak it up a little bit.
So what kind of high heat? Do you have it on medium high, high?
I have it on like medium high,
Okay.
just to kind of get the heat going. We want to get a gentle sizzle when we put that in. We don't want like a super loud sizzle because that'll probably stick it to the pan and create a little bit of smoke.
Yeah.
We want that gentle sizzle so that the pan is active.
Gotcha. And what can actually happen is when you're cooking that oil at high heat, you're actually changing the good fat to actually create
Some scary fat.
some fat that isn't so good. So yeah, you definitely don't want your oil smoking.
We don't want it to, not too high. If you do want something on higher heat, usually vegetable oil or canola oil is a little bit more close to what you need because it has a higher smoke point, where olive oil has a lower smoke point, so it works best on like medium to low.
Right. That's what makes it such a great option for salad dressings
Yeah.
and drizzles and things. Oh, it just almost looks like little chicken fingers that you're putting in
Yeah.
there, right?
Avocado oil is also another good option for a high smoke point.
Mm-hmm.
If you really want to like roast some seeds or nuts or get like that really good char on them.
Right.
So we don't want to crowd our pan, that's all I'm going to put in there for now.
Okay.
This is kind of what this looks like.
Oh wow, it's looking good. Look
Yeah.
at that. Getting crispy already. And how long are we going to cook that for? Like, is it a couple minutes on each side?
A couple minutes on each side, we just want it to be browned.
Okay.
Yeah, you're going to go for a little bit of browning on each side. And this marinade's going to kind of come off of it a little bit as it's cooking with that oil. And that's kind of good because we're going to kind of swish it around a few times so that all of those flavors are still going to coat the tempeh.
Nice. Oh, it smells so good in here, guys. I wish you could all be in the kitchen with Brittany and I today. It just smells fantastic.
So it doesn't hurt to check them just in case. They do take a few minutes.
Now, if you didn't want to do the frying pan, could you also do those in the oven as well in a different sheet pan and bake them? Or
You could. I typically, if I'm baking my tempeh, I'll still start it like this
So it gets that
to get a little bit
crispy?
of the sear on the outside. But if I'm doing something and I have to hold it, putting it in the oven is going to make it just that much crispier and that much better.
Nice.
What's your favorite way to eat potatoes?
Oh my gosh, I love all kinds of potatoes. I mean, I'm a dietitian, but go like French fries every now and then. Indeed. And also I love like grating them and doing almost like a latke. So adding a little bit of egg in there, adding in your favorite seasonings. I was just smelling that fresh dill, thinking how great that would be in it. I do throw them in my air fryer. I just have it get nice and crispy, and they're absolutely delicious. And you know, when you're cooking with potatoes, if you're lucky enough to have leftovers, let's say you have leftover mashed potatoes, you can actually use those leftover mashed potatoes. You can make fish cakes with them. You could do little cakes that you're gonna make with that, or you can freeze it. because you can actually freeze mashed potatoes. But what I love to do more in the colder seasons is use it to thicken my soups and stews. So the mashed potatoes actually get a nice thicker texture.
Almost makes it more of like a puree style.
Yeah, which is
love that.
great. I mean, it's almost chowder season on Prince Edward Island as well, so it's going to be a good time to have all those flavors.
There's so many amazing potato dishes.
What's your
on
favorite
this
potato
island.
dish?
My favorite, it's hard to choose. I love potato salad, which is a big reason why I chose to do this. I'm growing up with scalloped potatoes was one of my absolute favorite things to eat on like a Sunday. That was a big thing that my family made a lot.
Nice.
Roasted potatoes are just so versatile. Like roasted potatoes with like mushrooms and garlic and onions with like Montreal steak slice on them for like breakfast. Just,
Oh my gosh, it'd be so good to get
So
throw
good.
leftovers into an omelet, I'm sure, or toss them into a power bowl like we're making
Yes.
today. So no food waste when it comes to potatoes.
food waste
Yeah.
at all. So we're starting to get a bit of a brown on here, which is great.
Oh wow, I love that grainy texture of the mustard on
Yeah,
there.
the mustard. I find if it's like the grainy mustard with the bigger grains, it kind of just falls off.
Right.
And it just doesn't really stick to food very well. So that's why I find the stone ground mustard is a little bit better.
Yeah.
It still has the actual grains and seeds in there, but because it's stone ground, it's more of a paste than like a grainy. It's just easier to work with and it coats your food better.
Right.
So my pan's going a little bit dry, so I'm gonna just add a touch more oil because we want these to really get a good caramelization and good sear on there.
Yeah, it smells so good in here. Oh my goodness, so good. I cannot wait to try this dish. Oh, it looks so good. And another way when you're thinking about potatoes, another cool way is kind of doing like cactus style nachos. So using the potatoes, using a mandolin, slicing them ever so thin. You can put them on a baking sheet with parchment paper. You can quickly cook them. I've done them in the air fryer before. And then using them instead of tortilla chips, which is really a great way because when there's a shortage of tortilla chips recently. I think I have my PEI potatoes.
Yeah.
So I'll tonight at home easily.
Merchant Man has really, really good potato chips.
Oh my gosh, well let's give a call out if you've been there.
Yeah.
And then comment, let's give Merchant Man.
I'm sure people know what I'm talking
Oh,
about.
I'm sure. Well, I'm going to go in there maybe later today.
Good, you should.
Awesome.
Alright, so we're going to just kind of start building our bowl while we let the tempeh finish up. So we have our quinoa here, it's already cooked. If you've never cooked quinoa before, I do not cook it how they say you're supposed to. So,
Shocking.
so what I do is I use a pot about this big and I just fill it about halfway with water. Plenty of water, I don't measure it. And then I do a cup of quinoa that's rinsed. You always want to rinse your quinoa before you use it. This is Spearville quinoa from New Brunswick, so it's organic and it's local and it's great. And then once the water is boiling, then I add my cup of quinoa and I time my timer for exactly 13 minutes every single time. And once that is done, I will strain it and I'll shock it like the broccoli with cold water to stop that cooking process. And I let it drain because you don't want any of that excess water in there. Your quinoa should not look like oatmeal. It should be fluffy.
Oh, it looks so fluffy and great. It's like little clouds of quinoa.
Yeah, little clouds of quinoa. It's full of protein. It'll keep you full for longer and just perfect.
Yeah, and I love that it's giving that protein as a whole grain.
Yeah.
Such a great choice.
So when building my power bowls, I always start with my grain and my greens because they kind of rhyme. They kind of sound the same. That's how you remember. So we'll put our greens on 1/2.
Nice.
And we'll put a nice scoop of quinoa on the other half.
And this is so great. You could probably even do this family style so the kids could all build their own if
Absolutely.
they wanted
Have
as
all the
well.
toppings on the island and
Yeah.
you can fill their bowl as they choose.
Yeah, or fill it in mason jars for easy, quick grab and go.
There you go. I love that.
Oh wow, look at that. Nice and crispy. Getting crispy. Looking so good over there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's getting some nice browning on happening.
And what I love about these
a
power
little bit
bowls-
more brown on one side there.
Looks so great.
It's almost ready.
Mm-hmm. And power bowls really are like such a great dish to serve as we're springing forward, using up your vegetables, whether you're roasting them or not. Should we check those roasted vegetables?
We're gonna check them out.
Let's check those, make sure they're up. Oh wow, oh my gosh, look at that.
So we have our potatoes, we have our carrots, we have our roasted red onion, and we have our chickpeas.
Oh my gosh, that looks so
So
fantastic.
they're roasted with our dill, and there's just tons of flavor going on.
Oh, I love that. Now, if you want to add like, some red bell peppers or anything kicked around the fridge, you could throw those in there as well.
Yep.
Awesome.
Roasted red peppers would go in around the time as the red onion.
Okay.
Yep.
That's good to know.
we're gonna take a big old scoop of our roasted vegetables here.
Oh yeah, the more vegetables, the better, right?
Love it. Pop these on. I like to kind of alternate my colors so that you can kind of see the contrast. So I don't want the white potatoes to blend in with the quinoa, so I'm popping these onto the greens. We'll pop a bit of our sauce on here.
Oh my gosh, that sauce just looks so fantastic.
As little or as much sauce as you want. You are in control of the sauce amount.
Wow. That could be dangerous if you have kids at home, so stay within it.
Parents are in charge of the sauce.
Yeah.
Tempeh here. We'll chop this into some bite-sized pieces.
Wow, you can really see how nice and crispy that is. It looks so great.
Careful of your fingers, it's nice and hot. We're gonna grab some of our broccoli here. Put that on the quinoa so it pops out.
Wow, so much color.
Tempeh going.
Wow, this would be like a really great thing to serve at brunch too. When you think about it, you serve it
Oh
around
my
the
gosh,
corner.
yes.
Wouldn't this be beautiful? All this like vibrant colors.
Absolutely.
Maybe what would you pair with that? Nice white wine, maybe, or
Nice white wine. What else is good at breakfast?
I guess
Mimosa.
mimosa.
Yeah, mimosa. Maybe
Right?
some, like a coffee with a little whiskey or something in there.
Ooh, that sounds good too.
Or just regular coffee,
Yeah, I
depends on
guess
the person.
Yeah.
So now all I'm gonna add here is we have our cucumbers.
I don't think this bowl could get any healthier. It's so good.
And we have our pickles to add just that extra pop of flavor, these dill pickles. So I chop these pickles and I just use the brine from the chopped pickles with the sauce and with the marinade.
Nice.
All that's left is our little garnish of fresh dill.
Wow.
I like a lot of dill, so I'm just gonna dump it all on
I
there.
think that's great.
And this is our power bowl.
Oh my gosh,
Potato
folks,
salad,
look
power
at
bowl.
this potato salad. Powerful. It's like a tongue twister. Oh my gosh, so dare I take a bite of this right now?
I think you should.
See, I feel like you guys want to know if this is good or not, right? I think so. So let me just tuck in here and get some of this, and gotta get some of that good tempeh in there too.
People eat them differently. You can either mix them all together and eat it like that, or you can eat it in different little sections.
Wow, all of that dill, my mouth is just like, it's like sensational layers after layers and layers. Wow, this is absolutely amazing. So, I know you're probably wondering, this is so great, but where do I get the recipe? Well, we've got you covered. So we have the recipe. We're gonna post the link in our comments below. You can check out our brand new recipe database at canadafoodisland.ca, where you can find some of the most amazing recipes that are loved and cherished. You'll see Brittany's recipe. We put it in there for you. We'll share that link. And let's not forget, friends don't let friends, live with flavor boredom. Because, life should be more flavorful and delightful, and you should savor every moment and savor every bite.
Yes.
So at Canada's Food Island in Prince Edward Island, we want you to tag 3 friends. Tag friends, share this video, let everyone know about a potato salad style power bowl. And say that really fast 5 times, and then you can see how it goes. So yeah, tag your friends below, like this post, share it. Check out Brittany for great options, recipes. She'll even come to your house and do a cooking session with you, which is great.
Yes.
Wildkitchen.ca.
Wildkitchen.ca. Take your friends and then grab them, and then I will come over and we will
Careful
cook
to grab
together.
them, but yes.
Grab them over. Just grab them, take them, invite them over, and just get people back in the kitchen. Get your friends back in the kitchen, and that can be just as exciting as of an event as going out somewhere and just deciding to play with food together, and then you all have this big feast at the end that you've made together, and it's just, I just want people to keep connecting over food.
I
And
know. It's like love and
connect with
first
your
bites,
ingredients.
right?
Yes, exactly.
In my family, we always say when we meet, we eat, because you know what, that's really
Yeah,
So
yeah.
check out wildkitchen.ca for Brittany. Check out canadasfoodisland.ca for great recipes and to learn more about visiting PEI, coming to actually meet Brittany in person, because gosh, she's such a rock star. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you and take great care. Bye everyone.
Bye. Thank you.